a little
Okay.
behind on those ones.
Well, we're just slowly working through them. So the first listed diagnosis is going to be chemo.
Oh,
And that was Z51.11.
Okay.
Our other diagnosis is actually prostate cancer, and that is C61. Okay, now Miss Lisa, where I went to find that is, you remember when we were doing we were talking about our little tabs up here, and then we have our neoplasm table. That's where I went to find that neoplasm.
Okay, so neoplasm is classified as cancer.
Neoplasm is cancer, your cancer table.
Okay.
All right. So number 21, did anybody work that one?
I did. I tried.
You know what? I had to do a little bit of soul searching and praying on that one because I kept missing what I needed. So I want you to know sometimes I do that too. But again, in your index, please put a tab on disease because you're going to go to it a million times. Okay. So it's disease, pulmonary, lower respiratory. That's how I mapped how I found my codes for that one.
It's
Oh,
what?
Lord, I didn't.
I did disease, pulmonary, and then lower respiratory. And again, remember, this is how I do mine. See my little maps on the side that I do?
Yes.
On how I look it up, because I can't remember by the time we talk again. So just for me, I like to know how I'm getting there. So I went to disease. Okay, and I'm actually going to turn my computer a little bit this way because I'm working right here. So
I went a mile around it and still didn't get it.
where did you go to? Where did you go to, Miss?
I went to pulmonary first.
Okay. Well, this is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and anytime I see the word disease, I go straight to disease.
Okay.
That's how I get there. So I went to disease, and then I went to pulmonary, which is one of our words, because this is our first listed diagnosis. It's COPD with the respiratory infection.
I ended up with J22.
You weren't far off, though.
I don't know.
No, honestly, you weren't far off. I mean, it's not like you were in a completely different section, I promise you. You're in the J's. So pulmonary, let's see. Oh, I'm in disorder, for heaven's sakes. That's not where I want to be.
No, you want to go to disease first, right?
You want to go to disease first, then you want to go to pulmonary. Okay, and this is where it gets a little hard, because when you go to pulmonary, it's on page 204 in the 219. I didn't look at the page number for 220, sorry.
And you said it was J44. Was that the answer?
Yeah, I hadn't given the answer yet, but yes, that's the
My bad. Sorry.
Penny got it. It's J44.0. And let me tell you why. Once you get to pulmonary, you're just going to start reading down. You see artery, chronic obstructive with acute bronchitis, exacerbation, and then you have lower respiratory infection, acute, J44.0.
I got J22 also. I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, I'll just go look at it. Let me go look at J22.
Unspecified lower respiratory infection.
Okay, but where's your COPD at?
That's right.
When you have COPD and getting a respiratory infection exacerbates that disease, and it kind of goes together. How would you know that? Just because we're studying and we're figuring it out. You wouldn't know that right off the top of your head. That's why we're taking the time to go one by one by one and figuring out these sections together. So, Miss Sue, what did you get? Or did you get that far? You were good? All right. Okay. So J44.0 is the answer. What I'm gonna ask you to do is you can go ahead, if you didn't get it right, just write it to the side and then go back and look at it again later. Okay, so number 22, a patient was scheduled for outpatient surgery for a right inguinal hernia repair. However, he has a fever and a URI, and the procedure is canceled. Do you guys remember when we talked about that?
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember the rule? You're still going to use the reason for the surgery as your primary diagnosis, which are your first listed diagnosis, which is the hernia, correct?
Right.
So how would you look up the hernia?
You'd probably just look
I
up
went to-
hernia, right?
Hernia, and it's going to be listed there.
Right. That's what I did.
Okay,
And-
40.90.
Yep.
What'd you say? I got K45.8.
40.90.
Okay, I'm going to look up hernia, Miss.
K40.90. Is that what
Yeah.
you guys said?
Okay, so Miss Lisa, when I go to hernia in my index and I look down until I find inguinal, and it says K40.90.
Okay. K40.90. I came up with 45.8.
Well, that's okay. I don't,
Let's see.
okay, I see why. I see where you got the 45.8. You have to be careful when you're in this this manual, because you took the inguinal part under hernia and it says C hernia inguinal, but you wrote the code that was right underneath that, and that code doesn't go with that.
Okay.
So I see where you got it. I see why you made that mistake. That's okay. Just write the answer beside it and then take a look at it later. Our
All
other
right.
diagnosis is going to be upper respiratory infection. I went to infection and went to respiratory, and I found upper. That's where I went.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm confused. We're on 22, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He
You
had
said you
the
looked up
hernia. He was
respiratory
having a,
first?
yeah. I'm sorry.
You said you looked up respiratory first.
No, I looked up infection first. Girl, you better get up and get that workbook. Still
Who?
laying in bed. Miss Aunt Jadia.
I don't know what happened to my thing. Because I was
What?
waiting, but I fell asleep waiting on y'all because I don't know. Oh my.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with my thing. It just say waiting.
Well, I can see and hear you.
Let me try again.
Okay, did anybody come up with upper respiratory infection? Did we get a code?
What number are we on, baby?
We're still on
22.
22. Upper respiratory infection.
J06.9.
I'm sorry, Miss Sue, what'd you say?
J06.9.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what I got.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
After I looked up what URI meant, it didn't dawn on me.
It's
After I
okay.
looked it up, I was like,
That's okay, no worries. So
I didn't get it either.
J06.9. It's a urinary, an upper respiratory.
respiratory infection.
Yeah, I kept thinking urinary tract infection. I was like, that's not right. It doesn't have a
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's an upper respiratory infection, URI, upper respiratory infection. Okay, so we cannot leave this problem because
The procedure was not performed.
it was not performed. So in our Z codes, we have to talk about the contraindication codes. Remember when we spoke about that before?
Yeah.
I have mine labeled in my Z codes because I don't want to have to look for them anymore. And they start with Z53. Those are the codes telling the insurance company that we went to do the surgery. This is why we went to do the surgery, but we were unable to perform. And then that URI tells them why they were unable to perform. So that's kind of the story about this.
So that procedure canceled is Z53.0?
0.09.
09?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to look at, see why we stopped at Z53. You have to watch your stop signs and all that good stuff. So I'm going to encourage you again to get back in and bubble and highlight your codes. If we need to have a Zoom call just to do that together, we can. But if you look at Z53.0, it's got a big red stop sign in front of it. What does that stop sign say? Stop. You cannot use just this code.
You gotta add additional characters.
Right. And so you just continue to read down. Procedure and treatment not carried out because of another contraindication. 53.09. So I am going to encourage you one more time to put you a tab there so you know where it's at. I'm actually putting a big tab in mine right now so that I can relabel it because mine's gone. Okay, are we ready to move to number 23?
Yeah, just give me the code again for upper respiratory.
J06.9.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And you're going to go infection, respiratory, and then upper, and that's your code.
Okay.
All right. So number 23, an otherwise healthy patient is seen in the clinic for exposure to tuberculosis. Oh my goodness. Tuberculosis. Tuberculosis. I still can't say it. So what are we going to look up?
Tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. They finally gave us one that was very clear. So do we know if she's got tuberculosis? No, we just know that they were exposed to tuberculosis.
Right.
So it's important that we remember that word exposed to.
Is it Z20.1?
It sure is. Z20.1.
That's what I got. Yay, I actually got one right.
Hey, what did we say yesterday? It's not about what you get right. It's more about what you get wrong, because you learn more when you get it wrong than you do when you get it right. We're just getting started, so don't beat yourself up. Okay, so let's move on to number 24. In case y'all didn't hear, number 23 is Z20.1. Okay, number 24, patient presents for an outpatient chest x-ray due to chest pain with breathing. Later indicated normal x-ray. But all that we're coding right now, our first listed diagnosis is chest pain with breathing, because it just wasn't just chest pain. She only felt the chest pain when she breathed, right?
Yeah.
So I went to pain, then I went to chest, and then I went on breathing.
I had R07.1 is what I got.
Well, let's wait. We'll see if they agree.
All right.
Lisa.
I'm sorry.
Right.
A little frustrated.
What did you say you got? What did she say that she got?
R07.1.
Okay, good, that's what I got.
Who's in agreement?
Me.
Well, I'm going to guess that Rebecca's in agreement because she's rocking and her camera's going up and down. Okay, so number 25 was a little bit difficult. Hello. How are you?
She said, how are you?
I'm fine.
She said she's fine, she's crafting.
Thumbs up.
All right, so the number 25 is where we're at, correct?
24.
We just finished 24. It
Tell
was
me what, you went pain and what?
pain,
I'm sorry.
chest, on breathing. Did you find it, Miss Sue?
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
All right, so now we're going to go to 25. And I have to tell you, I had a little bit of trouble with 25 because looking up all these studies can get a little confusing. But I didn't have as much trouble because this is what I used to do. And so I already knew the codes. So I find it harder to look up the codes the right way whenever I know what they are, because I'm looking at the words going, what do I look at? So I believe I went to abnormal first because, as you can see, I didn't do a very good job mapping this one. I just wrote 2 words. That was it. And I don't remember what I went to. So we're going to do it together. So patient with known cardiovascular disease is seen for a follow-up visit to discuss results of a cardiac perfusion study, cardiovascular function study, which was normal. So what our first listed is going to be abnormal perfusion study.
Because that's where I'm having a problem. I got them backwards on what's first listed.
Okay, well, think about what your verb is. What did they actually do in this visit? They performed a perfusion study.
Okay.
Why did they perform it? Because he has CAD, cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
So sometimes that works. Sometimes you got to do the best you can. But if you say, okay, what did we do? Well, we did the study, so that's what's going to go first.
Okay.
And it's abnormal. So we did the study and it was abnormal, so that's why we have to do abnormal first. I'm going to be honest with you, Miss Lisa. You could put either one of these codes first coding, and they'll pay it either way.
Okay.
So, I mean, I-2510 for a pay code for cardiovascular will pay everything but a pacemaker.
Okay.
It's just a really, really strong code.
Okay, it doesn't go abnormal and then perfusion. So it's abnormal and what?
I don't know. I didn't write it down. That's what I'm saying. I didn't map this one the way I was supposed to. So I was talking to Miss Lisa and I haven't done it. Hang on. So R.
Okay, you're going to go to abnormal. Then you're going to go, hold on, I just said it. Phonocardiogram.
Nope. Where do you find cardiogram? What page?
It's on ours, it's page 85. You're going to go to PHONO cardiogram. Phonocardiogram.
Ah, that's the first word I'm missing.
And I got R94.39.
And that's
Yeah. Okay. Now the question is, how am I going to know that's what it's called?
Right.
Cardiac perfusion. I mean, how do I know that's a phonocardiogram?
Do you know what I would do? At the very top of my index, I would write a perfusion study and I would write R94.39. Or I would write abnormal perfusion study. Sorry, don't forget your abnormal, and I would write 94.39. That's how I do it. So I don't have to look up every word every time. I have little notes everywhere. Not everywhere, but I have important notes in spots. Because
Okay.
I wouldn't have thought of that as a phonocardiogram, Miss Sue. I wouldn't have known. I knew what abnormal perfusion study was. So for me, I don't understand why you can't look up abnormal perfusion study.
What was the answer to that?
R 94.39.
And that was the first diagnosis or the second other one?
That's the first.
That's the
was
abnormal. Yeah,
diagnosis.
that's the abnormal. What you're just doing diagnosis. We're not actually looking up the perfusion study. We're looking up the abnormal study. So this is telling you that it was abnormal test. So it's R 94.39. And I want to go to that so I can read it what it says. 94.39.
I don't even know where that is. Oh my God.
It is abnormal results of other cardiovascular function studies.
So you went to abnormal and then you went to what other word?
Photo, PHOTO, was that right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm labeling right now abnormal studies in the R's. The R, it starts with R 94.13 because those are your abnormal study codes.
Okay, all these are, right? All the
Yes.
way from,
Where you look and you see abnormal results, pulmonary function, then you have electrocardiogram, you have kidney, you have liver, you have thyroid, you have other organs, you have endocrine system. It has
Okay.
like that's just, I don't want to have to look that up again. And they actually
Right.
start a little bit before that. But if you have a general idea of where they are and you go and you bubble and you highlight and you label them, you just have to know that your abnormal studies are found right here.
Okay.
I mean, there's a ton of abnormal study codes. You just got to get in and,
Yeah, and it starts on R94 though, right?
actually it starts all the way up to R80. Well, no, it's a lot of them.
R70.
Yeah, that's where abnormal findings on examination of blood without diagnosis. They start on R70.
Okay, so that's all category into a study, so I can bubble all that one color.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You can. All
I
right.
still, wait. I don't know. I still lost.
Okay.
So I'm just on abnormal. I still don't find, you guys spelled it out, but I didn't find what you guys said.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
And body fluids is on, you have abnormal body fluids and different things.
Hang on, Penny. Hey, guys, let me just tell you, I'm running out of time. So when this time runs out, what we'll do is I'll just turn around and come right back in again, and y'all come back in again, okay? Because we're just not, we need time. We don't have enough time to get it all done this way. Okay, so abnormal. I'm sorry, Penny, I'm getting back there. Abnormal, and then go to, I've lost my place. Phono, P-H-O-N-O. Let me go get my 2020.
Phonocardiogram?
Yeah,
Okay, I see what you're saying now. I got it.
and they were asking, well, how do we know that that's where we're going? Well, that's why I went ahead and said, let's go ahead and label those abnormal codes. They start on R70, so that way you know what's there and you can just go in and do it.
Okay, but look, there's a little thin black line
Mhm.
that will tell that lumps those abnormals together, like one's abnormal blood and one's abnormal something. So you really can still separate them out by color if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did
Okay,
anybody?
I'm good.
Okay, what our other diagnosis is what? Cardiovascular disease.
Right.
So what do we go to?
Disease.
There you go, Miss Lisa. Now she's cooking with fire. That's right. Go to disease and then cardiovascular.
So is it I 25.10?
What I got, Penny?
Yeah.
94.39. Is that what you got?
No, I
For
got
abnormal
I-25.
perfusion study, that's what I got, but not
Okay.
for not for cardiovascular disease.
Oh, I-2510.
Yep, that's what I got.
Lex, are you good?
I think she's it's not there. This has her name.
Okay. All right, let's go to number 26. There she is. Did you get I-2510, baby, for C80? Okay, you're good. All right, so number 26, following outpatient surgery for right bunionectomy, that's snazzy, isn't it? For hallux valgus, the patient was admitted to observation due to an exacerbation of her asthma post-procedure. So what's our first listed diagnosis?
Hallux valgus.
Bunionectomy.
So you're
That's
going to go
what
to
I
hallux.
got.
I say hallux.
I said right bunionectomy.
Well, your bunionectomy is actually your procedure. What you're looking for is just your diagnosis. So why did we have
Okay.
the bunionectomy? She just wanted to say bunionectomy.
That's a CPT code, isn't it? Isn't your bunionectomy a CPT?
Your bunionectomy is the procedure. It's your CPT code. What we're looking at is why did we do that bunionectomy?
Both feet.
We did it because of a hallux valgus. So we're going to go to hallux, then valgus.
M20.1. I guess it depends. I don't know.
Did I put there? That makes no sense. Huh. I created a code. I created a JU code. Go figure that one. There is no JU.
No, there's not. But I really do appreciate your ambition.
Yeah, really?
We need, I think it
Okay, I found the hallux on page 1020.
in the
19.
did you look it up in the index or did you look it up in the back?
Looked it up in the back. I went backwards.
So it's
How do you go back?
M20.1.
How did I go backwards?
Mm-hmm.
Because the answer's in the book, and I went into the end and got the
Oh, okay.
answer.
All right, I got you. Okay, so it says that it's M20.1. Well, what do you see right behind that in the index? You see a red dot, right?
Right.
So we've got to go into, we always code 2 ways. I know y'all are getting a little spoiled because I'm telling you the codes that are right. So we're not going to double check them all the time in the tabular. But when you're coding on your own, you do in the index and you double check in your tabular, right? So we always code 2 ways, always. So we're going to have to go to M20.1 to find out what our actual code is supposed to be.
I got 10, but it's not. It's 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it 11?
Because it's the right foot.
Eureka, that's right. Because it's
Hey.
the right foot. See, it's just going to get easier and easier and easier. Y'all get so nervous, but when it's something new, but it's by the end of it, it's going to be so much easier. It really
I
is.
hope so.
So M20.11, that's our Hallis Vegas of the right foot. Okay, so we have another diagnosis that we need. Does anybody have any idea?
How about asthma?
Asthma. We're going to do asthma, and it's with exacerbation. Do y'all see that word?
Mm-hmm.
Her asthma was exacerbated by the fact that she had the procedure. But so it's going to be asthma, and then you're going to look with exacerbation. I don't like that word at all. I feel like I'm saying a bad word when I say it.
So you go and look up asthma in the index, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Pick that out now. Go get you different shoes on.
Which is page 119.
Mm-hmm.
Would be J45.51. No,
Got
J45.
21.
There's a
I
bunch of
got
different ones.
J45.901.
That's what
Oh,
I
yeah.
have too.
I
Yeah,
think that one's right too. Now that I look at it, yeah, I agree. Yeah, J45.901.
That's right. Okay, so I only have 1 minute, so I'm going to go ahead and click off, and then please come back, right back. Can y'all do that? Is everybody okay with that, or do you want to just get together tomorrow?
Get together tomorrow. On our new house today at 11
Yeah.
o'clock.
Tomorrow.
Okay, so come back tomorrow. Okay, continue to work. We're actually supposed to have a test on this chapter today, but I'm extending it. I'm putting chapter 3 and 4 together so that we can keep rolling with this and get more practice, okay?
Okay.
Miss Marshall,
So-
are you free for me to give you a call?
Yes.
Okay.